Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about, I want to talk about the things I love and hate in books. So I recently saw Heather do all of the things that she hates in books, and so I wanted to expand on that. I'll leave her video down below so you can check that out if you haven't already. So I am not a very picky reader. I read a plethora of genres, a plethora of different writers, different stories, different characters. I am not picky per se. With romance, you can pretty much convince me of any romance. With anything, with any story, as long as you give me something to hold on to, I'll probably find something good to say about it. But there are just certain things that I just cannot stand. I think my least favorite trope, it's not a revolutionary or unheard of dislike trope, but definitely surprise pregnancy. I think that it's incredibly irresponsible and is very uncomfortable for me. And I think that it usually ends up the couple just being like, oh, well, now we're gonna be together forever. Like, this resolves all of our issues. And that's annoying. And it's annoying that a child is being used as a band-aid for the relationship. And also it's annoying that there is no like responsibility or accountability in the relationship, and so it just feels uncomfy, I guess. And along the same vein as that is I don't like when I feel like my characters are losing agency. So just like to make the relationship work. So you see this a lot where in the beginning of the relationship, here where the heroine will be like, okay, well, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, but their partner does, and so they sacrifice their wants to satisfy the partner and make the relationship work. I don't like that. I don't think that that builds a understandable, relatable, and stable relationship that I can get behind. If you have such fundamental differences on the way that you want your life to go, then your relationship isn't going to work. And just like I wouldn't want someone in my personal life to sacrifice themselves for a relationship, I wouldn't want my characters to do that either, because I want them to be real people and I want to see them succeed and have happy lives. Another thing that I don't really like, and I kind of agree with Heather from her video, is like heroines in like dark romances and things like that that aren't on board with like the darkness, or in like kink books. They will spend like 70 to 80% of the book talking about how normal people don't like this, like how could I like this, am I a freak, like all of that. We're going into this book already liking those things, so you don't have to shame yourself and us for the fact that we like these things. I want to see heroines that know what they like, are good with what they like, and they embrace it. I'm tired of seeing heroines that are like, well, this isn't normal. Okay, well, why are you shaming all of us for our enjoyments, you know? I don't really like that. I want to see heroines, or heroes, either way, that embrace who they are. And then I have, of course, like the stereotypical using mental health to explain like someone's entire persona or why they're doing bad things, or like using it as a plot device. This is the same with children and babies. If I feel like you're using mental health in an irresponsible way, if you're using it to be like, oh, she's just crazy, or like using kids to get on the hero's good side or the heroine's good side, or you're just using these very important things as plot devices to make your story more spicy or whatever, and I am not on board with that. These are like very serious things. Mental health is a very serious thing, and we already have enough stigma as it is with mental health. Even still now, like people use mental health as a shield a lot, but they don't actually address the mental health aspect itself, contributing to a stigma by using that mental health. Then I have a really big issue with that. You see this a lot in thrillers. I think it's getting better now, but there was this like crazy other woman trope that you would see like in every thriller, and it just is incredibly annoying because I think it degrades the woman's viewpoint and what she might have gone through with that particular person or in her past, and it just kind of builds her, it strips away all of her humanity and makes her into this like stereotype, I guess. And kind of in the same vein as that, not everyone needs a redemption arc. Not everyone has to be good. And this goes along with something that I love. I like when a character is unapologetically who they are. And I don't think that just because your hero is bad, that he needs a redemption arc. It's okay for your hero or your heroine to be who they are. It's okay for your villain to be who they are. They can be complex without you having to make excuses. You can explain why they are how they are without them changing and redeeming themselves in some way, because not everyone is good. It makes for a more interesting story if you're not trying to make everyone the good guy at the end of the day. I also don't really like OP main characters. I think we're getting away from this a little bit, but especially like in fantasies, animes, and things like that, you see a lot of like the main character just is everything. Like everything you could possibly imagine this person is. They can beat anything you could possibly imagine, and like they're the thing. Like, oh, we're looking for a legend in this book, they're the legend. There's one thing superior over everything, they're that one thing. There's no obstacles, there's no stakes. Like, you've removed all the stakes because I know at the end of the day that while right now they might be struggling, I know that they're gonna overcome it because they have to, and they're just good at everything. And then the last thing that I hate in books, and Heather touches on this in her book as well, but she talks about lube. In romance specifically, I think the lack of toys really annoys me, and the lack of lube as well. I don't think I've read very many romances with toys, and I don't think that's indicative of like a diverse sex life. I think that toys are still very frowned upon, but the matter of the fact is that a lot of women might need them, or it will enhance the woman's experience, or just like the couple's experience in general. And I would like to see more discussion about that, making it more common. I don't see enough of it, and I think more couples use toys than you really see in romance books. So then let's talk about the things that I love in books. So I talked about this earlier. I love the I hate everyone but you trope. So the hero or the heroine or whoever that just is genuinely annoyed by everyone. They don't really like interacting with people. They might be shy. They might just not like people. But the heroine is like their soft spot. They're like standoffish, but they just melt for their significant other, like especially like an alpha hero that just like is gone for the heroine. I love that. And then in the same vein, I love soft daddies and bratty subs. Like I love that dynamic. I love daddy characters that are very stern and they take care of the character, but they're also very soft. I think gentle daddies are just so sexy, and to counteract that, bratty subs, I love that dynamic of like a brat who fights back. In romance specifically is bully romances with actual like bully elements. So kind of along the same line of hate to love. The bully has to be, or the reasons for the bully has to actually like be a reason, not just that I'm bullying you because I like you and like we're in kindergarten and I'm pulling your pigtails. Like I want actual reasons for the bullying or for the hate or whatever. And I think bullying is like, it's kind of my buzzword. I love reading a bully romance. I think it's sexy. I love like the cat and mouse dynamic. That's another thing that I love in books is the cat and mouse dynamic. I love just all of it. I think it creates great tension, and I think it like fleshes out a lot of emotions that someone who just kind of is meh about each other to begin with don't usually see. So I think it's incredibly sexy, and it's probably one of my favorite tropes. I also really love when multiple POVs and flashbacks are done very well. I don't often find this done well, but I think when they're executed well, it just makes the story 10 million times better. For POVs, I find that oftentimes one of the POVs is lacking, whether it be emotion or they're not in the story enough, or the character is very flat once you're in their head, and you can tell that one of the POVs has obviously been worked on more. Same with the flashbacks. I think that a well-executed flashback can do amazing things, but I think most of the time, especially if it's like a second chance or childhood anything, the author uses the dual POV or the dual timeline to create like a foundation and a sense of empathy with the characters. but then in the future they do no character work. So you go forward 10 years, they're very different people than when they were 17. Like, they're not the same people at all. But you're not doing any groundwork to make me understand why they want to be together in the present. And that kind of ruins the thing for me. And then my last thing that I love is character growth without the character changing who they are. So like an example of this would be in, I think his name is Dom, Love Her or Lose Her. He is a very alpha male from beginning to end. The difference is that he learns to communicate. He learns what his partner needs, but he is still at his core who he was in the beginning. And I love that because I feel like the character is staying true to who they are. They're just learning how to interact with other people in a more healthy way. And I love seeing that for my characters. I love seeing that kind of growth without them becoming a totally different person, unless it's like a natural occurrence. Something where it's just like a shitty part of them that makes them a bad person that they then grow out of. But if you're like changing your entire being, I don't like that. I really love character growth that is genuine but stays true to who the person is. So those are some of the things that I hate and love in books. Make sure you comment your thoughts down below on things that you hate or love in books. I would love to hear it. But other than that, I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.